Is Iran's brutal retaliation now placing severe and sustained strain on Israel's military capacity as the conflict deepens? A top Israeli commander has issued a major warning, highlighting a growing troop crunch as operational pressures continue to mount. And it's not just Iran. Are Hezbollah and Houthi attacks now compounding the pressure, pushing Israel's defense systems closer to their limits? Meanwhile, the heat is intensifying on Benjamin Netanyahu, as Iran warns that up to 1 million fighters are ready for a prolonged confrontation. Israel's top military commander on March 30th raised concerns over growing shortage of troops amid the ongoing conflict. IDF Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir reportedly warned lawmakers that serious consequences could emerge if the personnel gap continues to widen. Zamir urged members of parliament to accelerate decisions aimed at addressing the shortage of military personnel. He also stated that extending mandatory military service may be necessary to stabilize force levels. Zamir further indicated that reservists and their families could face increasing burdens as operational demands intensify. The IDF chief warned, and I quote, "I would like to take advantage of the opportunity that you sent me an important letter, and the concern that you raised regarding IDF soldiers and the reserve system in particular, and to call on you to fulfill your responsibility." In January, the decision to shorten mandatory service to 30 months will come into effect, and this is despite my clear demand in the past year to move in the opposite direction of extending the service. The meaning of this is severe harm and a decrease in the IDF force size, which will be expressed in a shortage of thousands of fighters and combat support personnel. I raised red flags both in the last cabinet meeting and in meetings with the subcommittee of the Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee, and on additional opportunities. In summary, in light of the expansion of missions in the coming years and the motivation of the IDF to realize them all with excellence, the IDF is required to grow. As we have expressed more than once, we need a large and strong army. End quote. Zamir's warning follows recent reports indicating that the IDF has sought an additional 12,000 recruits to support ongoing operations. Despite a troop shortage, Israel is under growing pressure as Iran warned that a 1 million-strong force is ready. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is reportedly considering plans to extend Israel's mandatory military service period. Netanyahu may revise conscription laws to make Israeli soldiers serve longer combat duty, according to Kan. Israel's cabinet secretary reportedly said that a new draft law could be introduced in the near term. This move comes amid reports that the IDF warned its military structure could soon collapse. The Israel Defense Forces are reportedly facing a shortage of 15,000 troops, including 8,000 needed for combat roles. IDF Chief Eyal Zamir has reportedly sounded the alarm over Israel's widening troop shortage crisis. Zamir reportedly told a recent security briefing that the IDF could collapse in on itself. Israeli media reports also said the IDF chief demanded an extension of mandatory military service. The IDF chief said, and I quote, "I am raising 10 red flags in front of you. Right now, the IDF needs a conscription law, a reserve duty law, and a law to extend mandatory service. Before long, the IDF will not be ready for its routine missions and the reserve system will not last." End quote. Expanding operations in Gaza, Lebanon, and the war with Iran have placed increasing strain on Israeli forces. Israel Central Command has reportedly said West Bank operations are placing additional pressure on available troops. Israeli military officials reportedly warned that missions are increasing while the number of available troops is falling. Under current Israeli law, citizens are required to serve 32 months of mandatory military service. However, proposals are now being discussed to extend the term of service by another 4 months. Netanyahu may still face resistance from ultra-Orthodox communities that oppose being drafted into military service. It is also worth noting that ultra-Orthodox allies nearly pushed Netanyahu's government toward collapse over the draft law dispute. Reports that Israel is facing a manpower crunch come as Iran prepares for a possible US ground invasion. On March 26, Iran claimed it has a 1 million-strong regional force ready for battle. Iranian media released a video on X indicating that military preparations are now underway for a possible battle. The footage showing those war preparations was released by Iran military media on March 26. Armed soldiers prepared for combat on land and in the air could be seen in Iran's military video. Iran also suggested that proxy groups across the wider Middle East region may join the battlefield. Iran described itself as a true master of ground warfare in an open challenge directed at US troops. Iran's challenge to Trump comes amid reports that the United States has deployed more troops to the Middle East. Soon after Iran's video, Trump extended the deadline for the pause on strikes against Iran's energy infrastructure. On March 26, Trump said the pause would continue for 10 days at the request of the Iranian government.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.